Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this video we are going to be talking about the new Quixel map, the medieval map. It's really awesome. It has tons of things that we can talk about, but right now in this video we're just going to talk about the landscape map because it contains something that you guys have been requesting a lot, which is the runtime virtual texturing, and it does it with a ton of blending options for the landscape. But before we get into that, remember there's the Patreon. That's one of the best ways to help the channel. If you cannot donate to the Patreon, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment. It really helps the algorithm to get my videos. Subscribe if you haven't, and ring that bell for notification. Now let's get into the tutorial. All right, here we are in Unreal. I'm really interested in knowing what everyone thinks of that new intro. Let me know in the comment section down below. So let's get started with this. This is the Quixel Medieval Map, and this is a huge project. It's very heavy. It's over 16 gigabytes, and it took a while to load. For me, it took 45 minutes, so be patient with it. Don't think it's crashing. It actually takes that much long just to load, and it compiles about 10,000 shaders. So like I said, just be patient with it and you'll be fine. Now, what we're seeing here is a bunch of red boxes. So let me turn that off so we can actually see the map. All right, this map has many things to offer to us. And one of the best things is that this is all Quixel made. So they made tons of new things for us to play with. And I'm going to be talking about all of those here in the channel. The landscape for this map has runtime virtual texture blending, and they actually build it in a way that is super easy to reuse. If you just want to throw some other textures from Bridge and use it in another map, it's actually really user friendly. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. Now, in order for me to show you how this works and how you can use it, I'm actually going to take you to another map to show you how you can just use it in your own maps. Here we are in a new map that I just created. This nice sky that you see here is ultra dynamic sky. This is a paid asset that I bought a while ago. I will have a review of this asset in a coming video because it's so amazing. And as you can see, we have the volumetric clouds just going around, giving us some nice shading. But we're here for the landscape material. So if you just want to build this, I have a tutorial on how to use the custom brushes for landmass. Link in the description down below if you want to check that out. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into the materials landscape. Now over here we have a couple of things that we want to take a look at. So we have a master material, and here is the instance. Actually, this instance is the one that's being utilized in the map. And let me open this instance so you can see all the things that we have over here. There's a ton of parameters that we can play with. I would like to see some other parameters, but still, this is an amazing material that we can use. And we can actually just swap textures here. Super easy. There's a ton of things that we can play with. But for now, let's just focus on the RVT part. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make duplicates of both of these because I don't want anything to break. So let's just do that. And I suggest you do the same. That way, if you make a mistake, then you don't have to create another project again because that'll be a pain. Now, one thing, and I don't know if you have noticed it, and that is if you go into the landscape material while you are in the map that they built, but here, this looks black. And when I was in the previous map, it actually showed the textures. The reason why it's black here is because we don't have any of the runtime virtual texture assets, and this is a runtime virtual texture material. So when we add the RVT assets, you're going to see that this will change. And if I were to throw this right away into my landscape, it will actually show pure black because there is nothing for it to read. There's no virtual texturing asset. If I were to run this, and so let's say if you didn't want to do any of the blending and you want to run this without the virtual texturing blending, all of the static meshes in this project come with their offset, and there's actually a master material for that. So if you want to use that, I know some people don't like it because you don't cast shadows, but that's okay when you're using certain assets. So if you want to go that way, all you have to do is turn off the runtime virtual texturing, and you can just use these right away. And it's a great map because if we go into the master, you're gonna see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 layers that you can play with. There's actually another layer, which is the puddle one, and that is amazing. So you have a ton of layers to play with if you want to just throw in some other textures from Bridge and start playing with this material. All right, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the assets that need to be in the world first. If you are new to Runtime Virtual Texturing, there's a link in the description to one of my videos where I actually explain Runtime Virtual Texturing with colors. So it's really easy to understand. If you just want to build one yourself, I suggest you do that because the best way to understand any tech is to use it yourself from scratch. So just follow that link in the video and you will learn how to work this out. But for now, let's just type runtime. We're going to add a volume here, and I'm going to select my landscape, and I'm actually going to duplicate this. So Control C, Control V, and let's see, both of them are in the landscape. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is rename these. I'm going to call this RVT colored land. I'm going to call this one RVT color height. And when you're doing runtime virtual texture blending, you always want to have color and height. It's really important. Now what I have here is some runtime virtual texture assets that I've already created. If you don't know how to create this, just right click and go into materials and textures, and you're going to see something that says runtime virtual texturing. That's what you need to create. And again, that's all in my first video that I made. And if you go here, make sure your height is set to world height and that your colors is set to base color normal and all that kind of jazz. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to pick this texture and I'm going to add its respective texture. There it is, the height. And now that we have both of this, you saw, I don't know if you've noticed that, but you see that set bounds is now available. We could not use this button before. So I'm just going to click set bounds and boom. Now we have this whole volume encompassing our whole landscape. And by the way, you don't need to have all this. You can just sculpt it by yourself. You don't need to be using the landmass brush. That's fine. And we're going to do the same thing with color height, set bounds. It used to say copy bounds and copy rotation. I'm glad that they just simplified it into one button. That's actually much better. And now we are going to go into the copy of our master material. So I'm going to double click here. And you're going to see that we have our material and it has the runtime textural output, and we have the runtime textual sample parameter. So this is write and this is output. So what I want to do is in this one right now it's reading from the landscape from the previous map. So I need it for it to read the assets that I've created here. So if I go here and click on this one, click on the arrow, so it changes to that. It's going to compile a little bit, and you're going to see it changed from that black, and now it has a little bit of like a shade, like a sheen to it. That means that it's working. So I'm just going to apply, close this, and I'm going to go back into that folder, and I'm going to go into my master instance. This is the copy that I created. So I can just scroll all the way down here and throw this one in here. Now we need to make sure that all the RVT assets that we are using are the ones from this map. So let's make sure that we put the one on this map over here, because this is one from the medieval map. So there you go. Boom. And as you can see, it actually changed to have that sheen that it didn't have before. It was actually plain black. All right, so I'm gonna get out of there. I'm gonna select my landscape, and the other thing that you have to do to your landscape is you need to add the virtual texture arrays. So let's just click 1 and 2. And for color, we're just gonna throw one here, and we're gonna throw height here. And now we have both of them. Now we can throw in our landscape material. Go back to this, and we're going to do this one. I'm gonna throw it in here, and it's gonna compile a little bit, and it still looks black. All right, now as you can see, I have some glitches here. I really don't know what's going on there, but if I go here and I reset the tiling of my custom brush material only, you're gonna see that go away. So there, if you're having those glitches, make sure you check your landmass brushes, because that may be one of the things that's causing that. Anyways, now that we're here, we need to do what we always do whenever we are having some layer blending for the landscape. So as you can see, we have a ton of things here, and we can actually add the layer info because it's already built for us. So I'm just going to be adding it for every single asset. And as you can see, actually it went from black to dirt. So that means that it's actually working. Now, I don't know why it's showing one material here. That's weird, but if I were to paint, you're gonna see that I'm actually painting with grass. If I paint here, I'm actually painting with mud. Just let it compile for a little bit. If I choose stony ground, I'm actually painting with stony ground. So I don't really know what's going on here. It must be a glitch, but like I said, everything works fine. I can actually paint with which one of these I want. Okay, so we have our Runtime Virtual Textures set. And actually, if you go here, you're gonna see that something has changed here. This used to be completely black. Now we have the height here. And if I go here, we have some color, which also represents some of the things that we have on the map, which again, it's just telling you that this whole thing is working. Now, the second thing that we have to do is we have to go into our asset and actually make sure that it's using Runtime Virtual Texturing. All right, I'm gonna use this mossy rock that they already have here. And as you can see, there is no blending going on. And you can see a really big seam around the asset. So let's just leave it all the way over here. Maybe lower it a little bit more so it looks like it's actually blending. And let me go into the material of the assets. All right, like I mentioned before, there is the dither strength right here. If you just want to use the dither offset, you don't have to actually make it. It comes with these materials. So if you want it to be on the assets that you import from Bridge, all you have to do is get this master material. So we're actually going to go into that folder right now. And you're going to see it's in materials, masters. And what this folder has is a bunch of master materials that we can use. So it has the roof material, it has the subsurface scattering material. This is the standard material, which this is using. And if you just want to use the dither offset, this will be the one you want to use. So we're going to be using the blend master. So if you actually double click here, it's going to open this, and you're going to see that this is a fairly complex material. But if you go down here, you're going to see that we have Runtime, Virtual Texturing, Color, and Height. All right, so this is what you want. So what we're going to do is we're going to substitute the master material that this has with the master material that's the blend one. So double click this one, and I'm actually going to click on the blend master material, click here. Now this has some other parameters, and it actually has the RVT materials here. But actually I'm gonna go into this master material and substitute the Runtime Virtual Textures that it has with the ones that I created. So I'm gonna go here into test map. I'm gonna drop the color into the color one, and I'm gonna drop the height into the height. I'm going to apply, and you can see instantly this material starts blending. So I'm gonna get out of there, and as you can see, it got over here. Actually, you can just substitute them here in the instance. You don't need to go into the master one to get that done. But as you can see, our rock is already trying to blend with what we have here. Now let's move it over to this one right here. And as you can see, this actually blends in a little bit better. One of the things that I found with the blending here is that when it goes into a certain angle, it won't blend. All right, so as you can see, it blends on all the different parts like that. And I'm gonna get it close to the mountain, because one of the things that I had, there were many comments about this, is that people were not getting blending when they were on different heights on the map. So I don't know what's going on there. I didn't have that problem, but as you can see, even though we are at a different height here in the mountain, it's still trying to blend with it. So if I get closer here, you're gonna see that it actually is trying to blend here. So I can rotate it this way, and let me actually get out of here and do by local. Actually, you can see that it's trying to blend in. So it has nothing to do with whether you have a flat surface or not. It will blend regardless. Now this material does have, or should I say the master material, does have some parameters that you could use for if you want to change the blending of the Runtime Virtual Texturing. So if we go into the material again and we type blend, because there's a bunch of these, you're gonna see that we have noise blend, we have normal blend, and we have texture blend. So the noise blend is, they have a noise map that's actually helping with the blend, so it actually looks more natural. There's also a normal blend, which I assume it's for the normal map, and there's a texture blend. So let's turn them all on and see what we can achieve with them. So your texture blend is your regular height and fall off. So if I increase the blend length, it's going to encompass more of my asset. If the blend Z bias, so if you increase this is actually like an opposite value. So if I were to increase this, you're gonna see that the blending goes away. So you have to go into a negative value if you want to increase its height. So let's do -25, and you can see it's actually taking on almost everything right here. There's also the contrast, which again, you can play with that. And as you can see, if I go into negative values, it's actually pretty sharp. Let's just reset that, and let's increase this intensity to 30. And let's try the intensity of 45. And again, I'm doing crazy values here so you guys can see all the changes that this produces. But for this one, you have to go into the negatives if you want it to be more intense. So if we go here into the noise one, actually, let me do 50 here. And we go into the mask tiling. So this is the noise mask that it's using. Again, to make things more natural, maybe just do 30 so it's not horrible. Let me reduce my camera speed to like 2, and let's get closer here so you guys can see the change. So if I increase the tiling, you're gonna see that there's a slight change here. So this is what I said was trying to make this blend a little bit more naturally. So you can change all these values if you want your blending to change. All right, everyone, that is it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please leave a like, that really helps the channel. There's a Patreon. Remember to follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, and I'll see you in the next video.